Hey everybody, this is Adam B. Levine from Let's Talk Bitcoin. We had so many new show submissions for the contest, we've opted to create a page where you can listen to all of them at your own pace. Visit letstalkbitcoin.com/contest to peruse the entire set, and feel free to vote for more than one. We'll be selecting multiple shows to join the network in Q1. Enjoy the show, and remember to vote at letstalkbitcoin.com/contest.
You're listening to SovereignBTC, your guide to the practical side of everyday Bitcoin use. It's a weekly podcast bringing you news and views, tips and tools you can use to incorporate Bitcoin into your life. My name's John Bush, and I'm your host. I've been using Bitcoin for about 6 months now, and man, it has really dramatically changed my life. I decided to do this podcast because I wanted to present the practical side of getting involved with the use of Bitcoin. There's a lot of theory out there, lots of news, a lot of technical stuff, but I really wanted to focus on the how-to, how a beginner, total novices, and experts in the realm of Bitcoin can really get their hands dirty using Bitcoin to benefit their lives. That's what this podcast is all about. Today's episode will feature an interview with Ryan Dixon of Brave New Books, the first brick-and-mortar store in Austin, Texas to accept Bitcoin. We'll talk about what it's like using Bitcoin as a merchant, what his customers think about it, and where he sees Bitcoin going in the future. We then hit you with this week's Bitcoin Tip of the Week, courtesy of SovereignLiving.com. We'll also have a chat with Benny Gorlick. He's the co-founder and COO of CloudHashing.com, an easy way for Bitcoin enthusiasts to get involved in the mining game. We also get an exclusive audio sneak peek of the not yet released scenes from Sovereign Living the Reality Show, Episode 4, which happens to be all about Bitcoin. We close down the show with my thoughts on Bitcoin and its recent penetration into the mainstream consciousness. Hold on for the ride, people. And finally, we listen to the Bitcoin jingle by Tatiana Moroz. I'm glad you can join us. I hope you enjoy this pilot episode of SovereignBTC, your guide to the practical side of everyday Bitcoin use. Before we go any further, here's this week's Bitcoin news.
The city of Vigo, Kentucky is believed to be the first city in the United States to pay a government official using Bitcoin. Last month, Police Chief Tony Vaughn requested that the City Commission allow his salary to be paid in Bitcoin. The City Commission and the mayor spent time researching the currency before deciding that Chief Vaughn would receive his take-home pay after federal and state taxes in Bitcoin. Bitcoin recently rose in value to over $1,000.
On Thursday, December 5th, Bank of America published a first-of-its-kind research report on Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency that has skyrocketed in value the past couple months. Bank of America concluded that each Bitcoin was valued at about $1,300 and the entire Bitcoin economy was worth close to $15 billion. Bank of America believes that Bitcoin could become, quote, a major means of payment for e-commerce and may emerge as a serious competitor to traditional money transfer providers, but still warned about the possibility of speculation leading to a bubble. A Lamborghini purchased with Bitcoin. That became a reality last week for a Florida man who made his purchase Tuesday from a Lamborghini dealership in Newport Beach, California. CNN reports that the dealership, after hearing from the man about his desire to purchase the Tesla Model S, did their homework, opened a Bitcoin account, and accepted his 91.4 Bitcoins, then valued at $103,000. The car's new owner has asked to remain anonymous.
Bitcoin for groceries? The answer is yes, as that becomes a reality in the latest move for the digital currency, continuing to integrate into day-to-day usage. The latest use for Bitcoin comes as Gift.com, the website which sells Bitcoin gift cards, adds Whole Foods to its lineup of options. Gift.com Tuesday announced the addition of the nation's largest retailer of organic and natural foods to its list of Bitcoin purchasing options.
Special thanks to Brian Hagan and the rest of the Liberty Beat team for supplying this week's Bitcoin news. I'm the editor of the Liberty Beat, and I personally use Bitcoin in order to pay those who work with me. Man, I really saw the value in Bitcoin when I actually started using it as a payment system. Before then, I just thought that it had a lot of value in its ability to undermine central banks and really shake up the status quo. But it wasn't until I actually used it for a business transaction that it really struck me, wow, Bitcoin's going through the roof. Bitcoin will be mainstream. Bitcoin is the answer to a lot of our money problems. So I really have grown a deep appreciation for using Bitcoin in businesses that use Bitcoin. I strongly feel that if we want Bitcoin to be adopted by the mainstream, to be seen as a legitimate medium of exchange, to go worldwide, I think it's up to each and every one of us to support those businesses, especially the brick and mortars who are out there on the cutting edge, to support them with our hard-earned Bitcoins. And I wanted to do just that at Brave New Books, located in Austin, Texas. I had the opportunity to sit down with Ryan Dixon and chat with him about Bitcoin and Brave New Books and how it benefits both of them. I decided to stop by Brave New Books in the heart of Austin, Texas, 1904 Guadalupe Street. It's one of the few brick and mortars here in town that accepts Bitcoin. Few brick and mortars for now. We caught up with Ryan Dixon, one of the store workers, to chat about Bitcoin and how it's changing how they do business. The bookstore is located right beneath a Chase Manhattan bank. So it seems they're undermining Chase Manhattan in more ways than one. Let's go chat with Ryan, see what he's got to say. So Ryan, how are you?
Oh, doing great.
Excellent. So tell us first about Brave New Books. What's this store all about?
I like to say that we are fine purveyors of the proverbial flip side of the coin. All the stuff that the schools forget to mention and that the media refuses to, we kind of aim to give a platform to those voices.
That's great. So tell us, when did you first get into Bitcoin?
I started looking at it roughly a year ago. I think it was valued around 10 or 11 bucks at the time, and kind of actually got my feet wet around 33, so...
Nice. That's exciting. And when did Brave New Books begin accepting Bitcoin? From my understanding, this is the first brick and mortar in Austin to accept Bitcoin.
I believe that's correct. Yeah, we got into it, I want to say a little over roughly a year ago, thereabouts, something to that effect, and just kind of saw the potential behind it and decided that'd be something that would fit right in with kind of what we're all about.
Why do you think Bitcoin benefits the bookstore?
It benefits the bookstore in a lot of ways. I mean, both from the merchant side and from the customer side. Being able to take payment that we're not running a 1 to 3% overhead charged by the credit card companies. We can, put that in terms of savings for the customer. We can offer discounts. We can also expand product line. So it does a lot of good for us in that regard. But it also it's just kind of fits into the mold with really everything that the store is about. So it's been a benefit in a number of ways, but that'd probably be the primary one there.
That's great. Yeah, the store's got all sorts of books and DVDs that are pretty anti-establishment, to say the least. So it's only natural and consistent that you guys would have an anti-establishment decentralized currency. Are there any downsides? For example, how many people are using Bitcoin here at the bookstore yet? Are we still kind of ahead of the curve on this front? Are a lot of people using Bitcoin down here? What's that all about?
I think we're really ahead of the curve on this one, getting into it. I think Bitcoin's still real early in its stages, so anybody that thinks they've kind of, missed the ship on that one, I don't even think the sales have been raised just yet. But we do, we're getting an increasing degree of volume of people interested coming in and spending that with us, so...
I understand y'all use BitPay merchant services in order to simplify things on the back end. Tell us why BitPay was the choice for Brave New Books.
BitPay's been fantastic. They, offer a lot of different solutions as far as the merchant side of things go. If you're looking to take some of the degree of merchant risk out of it in terms of, dealing with the volatility that's associated with it, there's that option. But also the option, of course, to simply assume the risk of it and keep it that way. And incredibly secure, safe, simple to use, and only takes a few minutes to set up.
Now, you're an anarchist, right? A libertarian-style anarchist. Tell us, what do you think the broader implications are that Bitcoin has in its role in creating a more free society?
Well, when you look at the existing power structure, so much of this boils down to the control of money. As Amstel de Rothschild, I believe it was, had said, "Give me control of a nation's money supply, and I care not who makes its laws." So what happens when you lack that control of a nation's money supply? Do you then begin to care who its lawmakers are? Do the people kind of get their government back? And does the government have the degree of power that it has under the existing model? And these are the things that Bitcoin kind of challenges. And of course, there's so many ripple effects from there. Do these big businesses like Monsanto, are they able to buddy up to the coercive force of government and utilize that to further their foothold and poison the food supply as they've done? Probably not. And so Bitcoin seems to be have some pretty extreme implications and potential here behind it that I think are only just maybe beginning to be realized by some folks out there.
Right on. It's definitely exciting to be a part of the ride. So tell me, someone here in Austin is looking to spend some Bitcoin here at the bookstore. What kind of products might they buy?
We got any wide variety of things, from books, DVDs, a really expansive health and nutrition section. So many folks are figuring out kind of how this sort of existing power model is tainting the food supply and depleting it of the nutrients that they need, and that's causing a lot of the health issues out there that people are having. Fluoride in the water, we have a wide variety of water filtration systems that'll help get the fluoride out. Of course, that's not something that you can go and just pick up off the shelf at your local grocery stores. So any number of things of that nature, onto apparel and so forth. So quite a broad spectrum of things for folks to choose from down here.
Right on. I see there's a 3D printer there behind the register too. So tell us, last question, what's next for Brave New Books, and in your opinion, what's next for Bitcoin?
For Brave New Books and Bitcoin, I think the future looks bright for both. Bitcoin obviously has got a long way to go, but we've been in business here for 7 years, and so judging by all the models and statistics, it seems like we're here to stay. So hopefully, with the inclusion of Bitcoin, we can continue to lower prices on products here, expand our product line, and get more things on the shelves that people are looking for and having a hard time accessing.
Right on. Well, thanks for chatting with us, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
If you want to learn more about Brave New Books, visit bravenewbookstore.com. Next, we're going to hear this week's Sovereign Living Bitcoin Tip of the Week. I want to give a special thanks to Megan Duffield for putting this together. It's all about how you can utilize Bitcoin for your holiday shopping. Enjoy.
Welcome to Sovereign Living's Tip of the Week. This holiday season, forget the department stores and credit cards and enjoy some sovereign shopping with Bitcoin-friendly retailers. With the stellar activity and popularity of Bitcoin growing, it's no wonder businesses around the world are becoming hip to the idea of virtual currencies. Here are some places to check out online when shopping with Bitcoin this holiday season. Gift.com. Choose from a slew of gift cards from Amazon to GameStop. You can also try JoinSnapCard.com, a new tool to use Bitcoin to make purchases on the web. Some other small businesses you can support by shopping with Bitcoin are Shire Silver, Brave New Books, George's Famous Baklava, Stateless Sweets, Amaji Metals, and Silver Circle. If you're more apt to give during the holidays, check out bitcoinnotbombs.com/organizations. This week's Tip of the Week is brought to you by Sovereign Living's Bitcoin Celebration Week. Watch Sovereign Living's newly released Bitcoin PSA today.
You're listening to Sovereign BTC, your guide to the practical side of everyday Bitcoin use.
If you got $1 in your pocket, hold it up like this. Next year, that dollar's worth 89 cents. And the test here is how to make your bank account stretch to the best of your ability, your real TD press. By half, almost anyone can do the math. That's why you see the market about to crash. Ask, what is going on? I'm not a terrorist. Just because I talk about the way things are unfair, I guess. Dig a little deeper while we can. Demand cannot exceed the supply that they have. And the market has an invisible hand. But it's not your toy to play with, understand? Understand they created this so that only a few are rich and the rest of us...
That was David Costa, hip-hop artist, with his track Wars and Rumors of Wars. Really good song, very strong artist with a pretty potent message. You know, the dollar is the war dollar. The central bank, the Federal Reserve, finances multiple foreign wars of aggression on both sides. And I want to turn people's attention to bitcoinnotbombs.com. It's a wonderful website, wonderful organization that's educating people about the value of Bitcoin. But they got a sweet little twist on it, encouraging people to realize that every time you use the Federal Reserve note, you in turn are adding value to the war economy. So if you oppose the dropping of bombs on innocent civilians, women, and children, I ask you to check out bitcoinnotbombs.com and learn what that's all about. And I also ask you to use Bitcoins anywhere and everywhere that you can. We truly are changing the system, lowering our dependency on a centralized institution that funds multiple wars of aggression. Don't do it, folks. Check out Bitcoin. Shifting gears, we had the opportunity to chat with Benny Gorlick. He's the co-founder and COO of cloudhashing.com. A lot of people are looking to getting into mining but don't have the technical capacity to do so. Cloudhashing.com looks to solve that problem. Here's an interview with Benny Gorlick. We're chatting with Benny Gorlick. He is the co-founder and COO of cloudhashing.com. Benny, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. That's good to hear. Maybe you can just start by explaining what exactly is Bitcoin mining and how does it fit into the overall Bitcoin universe?
Sure. Bitcoin mining is much like a bank teller at a bank who you bring a check to and you ask them, can I deposit this check? And they look onto the bank system and verify that the funds are actually in the account that they'd be drawn from, and that they are then going to be sent to the account that you're trying to send them to. And it acts as a verification system in this way for transactions on the Bitcoin network on a technical level. And so from a user's perspective, Bitcoin mining is a way to earn Bitcoins because once you perform this transaction verification, the reward for doing that is Bitcoins.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, from my understanding, mining is pretty technical, and especially at this point in Bitcoin's life, it may not be the best thing for a novice to get into as far as the technical side and managing all the hardware themselves. Tell us how cloudhashing.com sets themselves apart from your traditional idea of someone mining at their own house.
Sure. Cloudhashing.com was designed for the people that were getting into Bitcoin as well as the people that didn't have the ability to run the hardware in their home, or they wanted to be able to run more mining equipment but didn't have a way to do so with the infrastructure that they have currently set up. So basically, we took all of the technical aspects of Bitcoin mining out of the user's hands and put them into our hands to ease the entry and to manage the whole mining technology for them. So a person simply would be able to go to our website. They'd be able to sign up for a particular type of a contract, which would allow them to have a certain amount of mining power, or what we call in the Bitcoin world hashing power. And from there, they would be able to have an account set up, which is, in essence, performing these transaction checks, just like we talked about before. Mm-hmm. And then the reward for that is they're earning Bitcoins. That's the payment for the bank person, for example, in the bank doing the transaction checking. Their amount of mining or the amount of transaction checking that their account is set for is, in essence, being paid in Bitcoins, which is the ease of earning. They simply go to a website, they pick a contract, they get an account, and they begin earning Bitcoins immediately.
Right on, right on. Tell me a little bit more about hashing. Like, what exactly is a hash rate? It's the speed that the mining takes place, right? What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, hashing is the amount of hashes or the amount of checks that are being performed in a certain amount of time. And so the semiconductors, which is what, computer industry is built around, are designed in the Bitcoin space to be specifically focused on doing these verification checks at a very high speed. So a person who is looking at it from a hash rate perspective is really getting how many checks per second are you performing, or how fast is this verification occurring? Okay.
What kind of mining equipment are you guys using at cloudhashing.com?
We are using quite a bit of different equipment at this point in time, and we're looking to continue to expand that. We've purchased equipment from many of the manufacturers that people are familiar with from the beginning of our business. We started with Butterfly Labs. We've purchased equipment from KNC, And we've purchased equipment from some of the other vendors as well that are looking to release their new products onto the market in 2014.
Right on. What type of investment would it take someone that's interested in getting started with you guys, maybe on a smaller scale?
Yeah, I mean, the investments doesn't take a significant amount of capital because we've put this into the cloud and made it possible for someone who doesn't have, for example, the finances to buy one of these larger mining rigs to be able to buy a portion of it through the cloud environment that cloudhashing.com set up. So right now, customers can get in for under $1,000, and from there they can decide if they'd like to be able to purchase a larger contract. And we have some, investor-minded clients that are purchasing quite large contracts as well. So we scale from the everyday consumer that's looking to just get involved in Bitcoin mining all the way up to companies and investors that are looking to go into the Bitcoin mining to hedge their bets or to be able to generate large amounts of Bitcoins on a daily basis.
That all sounds great and well, thanks for chatting with us, Benny. Before we let you go, why don't you let the listeners know where they can find more information about cloudhashing.com?
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, you can go to www.cloudhashing.com and learn more about Bitcoin mining in the cloud. And if you have questions for us, we have a customer support team that's happy to answer your questions and frequently ask questions on the website as well.
All right. Well, we appreciate everything you're doing and appreciate your time, Benny. You have a good day.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sean.
Next, we're going to fill you in on an exclusive audio sneak peek of Bitcoin-related scenes from Sovereign Living, the reality show, Episode 4. It was filmed up at the Porcupine Freedom Festival 2013. Chat with such people as Dr. Robert Murphy of the Mises Institute, Drew Phillips of Bitcoin Not Bombs, Eric Voorhees of Coinapult.com, and George Mandrick himself, the man who makes the famous baklava and trades it for Bitcoin. So check it out, some exclusive audio sneak peek scenes from Sovereign Living the Reality Show, Episode 4.
I don't like rock and roll no more, not sure that I ever did. Can't shake the notion I've been fooling myself ever since I was a little kid.
Forecast X. This year, the Blush family is really interested in exploring alternative currencies. What is value? What's valuable in a market?
Well, ever since the 1870s, economists subscribe to what's called a subjective value theory, and that just says that value is in the mind of the beholder, that the material objects don't have intrinsic value, rather it's just how people get usefulness out of the items. So, for example, crude oil used to be a nuisance. If you found this sticky stuff in your backyard, you wouldn't want it. But then when people determined how to use it to make gasoline and so forth, now all of a sudden that's a great thing to have. It's not that the oil changes, it's just our ability to use it.
I keep hearing a lot about inflation, and I'm currently experiencing, for sure, higher prices at the grocery store. It's becoming more and more difficult to make ends meet. What exactly is inflation?
Well, there's two different definitions. So the layperson now, what they mean by the word inflation is rising prices. But actually in the early, before, let's say, the 1930s or so, inflation meant expanding the quantity of money, because the idea was the government would come in and inflate the money stock, and then the natural consequence would be the prices would go up. But now it's, I think, almost intentional that they want to disguise their role in it, and so they're just looking at the symptoms, not the cause, which is the government dumping in more and more dollars, and so the dollar price of everything keeps getting higher.
So why is the dollar more vulnerable to inflation than silver dimes or silver in general?
Well, because it's no longer backed by a real commodity. It's not pegged to anything, and the Fed and the Treasury can print dollar bills at whim through legislation, and they just write up some new notes, and they print them out, and they ship them out, and through that inflation, we get our dollars become worth less money and buy less from the grocery store, and etc. So that's the problem that we have with the Federal Reserve today.
Bitcoin can be very easy. So basically you can use it with nothing but a smartphone. So you just have your phone, you go to the App Store if you're on Apple or the Android App Store, and you can download one of many Bitcoin wallet apps. And with a Bitcoin wallet app, you've now made an account. And once you have that, anyone can send you Bitcoin from anywhere in the world without anyone else having a say in the matter.
Great. Yeah. Well, yeah, I have a smartphone right here. Maybe you can show me.
Sure.
Excellent.
up, John?
How are you?
Good to see you, man.
Man, I love your food. I hear you accept Bitcoin, too?
Oh, yeah, man. Whole week we've been taking it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, let me get a Boner Joe, then.
All right, dude. You want a Boner Joe?
Yeah.
That's a plate of gyro meat, you know. You that hungry?
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Before we let you go today, I wanted to give you some last-minute thoughts on how I use Bitcoin and why I see Bitcoin as valuable and how I think it's going to go mainstream in no time. I'm the executive director of the Center for Natural Living. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. I'm also the editor of the Liberty Beat and have some people that work with me on both of those fronts. As I said before, I really valued Bitcoin primarily because I thought it would undermine the system, undermine the central banks, create an alternative institution that people can use to live more free. It wasn't until I actually started using the payment system that I genuinely saw the value in it. One of the people that works for me, he lives in Houston. He's an agorist, meaning he likes to stay off book, do things off record. So I wanted to help him out and help him stay true to the counter economy, if you're familiar with agorism. So I was sending him money through Western Union. I got to tell you, it was not easy. It was expensive, and on top of the price that they charged, it also was inconvenient to have to go to the grocery store and drive out, stay in line. You know how it goes. So I sent him a couple payments in Western Union and thought, man, we got to try something different. I need to set you up with a Bitcoin wallet. The first time I sent the payment over, it was lightning fast. Pretty much cost nothing at all. He used localbitcoins.com and cashed the Bitcoin out. Simple as that. It's at that point that I really saw the use in Bitcoin, and I really felt, man, if we can just get this message out to more people, if more people can see the true value of Bitcoin, not as a speculative way to make money, but as a payment system, I think it's a matter of no time before Bitcoin will go mainstream and will be adopted by so many people. We see Ben Bernanke praising Bitcoin. We see one of the owners of PayPal saying that he actually owns Bitcoin, and perhaps one day it could be integrated with the PayPal system. Fidelity was on the edge of using a third party to have Bitcoins for their IRAs. Man, I think they since backed off, but it's still on the table, and something like that on the table is huge, folks. Bank of America, of course, sung high praises, one of their analysts, of Bitcoin. I really think that it's starting to penetrate into the mainstream consciousness. And we as Bitcoin supporters, we almost have a responsibility. Nobody's going to force you to do anything, but if you truly love Bitcoin, I think we should be good stewards of the Bitcoin ecosystem and do everything we can to live consistently, to avoid using Federal Reserve notes at any point possible, to help give and patronize these businesses that are accepting Bitcoin, to share the love of Bitcoin with everyone, to set our friends and family up with Bitcoin wallets. It's up to us, folks. It's not going to take much longer before this penetrates through to the masses and they accept it wholeheartedly. If one of these big money transmitters, one of these big retail giants starts accepting Bitcoin, that's all it's going to take. Everyone else is going to follow suit. So I'm very excited to be a part of this movement and to be here on the ground floor. I want to thank you for listening to the first episode, the pilot episode of SovereignBTC, your guide to the practical side of everyday Bitcoin use. Before we let you go, we're going to play you out with the song written by Tatiana Moroz. It's the Bitcoin Jingle. I'm John Bush signing out, reminding you to live free and prosper.
I didn't want to give any of my money to a nation based on war. I wanted to be free, nothing holding me back from where I want to go. I thought about it, what was the choice that I made? Was you take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay. Use Bitcoin whenever you pay. I didn't want to waste any of my time working for the government. I wanted to be kind, open up my mind, just like an instrument. I thought about it, what was the choice that I made? Was to take away the money, don't give up your money, use Bitcoin whenever you pay. Use Bitcoin whenever you pay.
If you enjoyed the show you just listened to, visit letstalkbitcoin.com/contest and send 0.1 millibit or 0.0001 Bitcoin to the address indicated for that show. Thanks for helping.